conned out of their imperial noble inheritance, resigned to living lives as sky bandits, and eventually pardoned to embark down a more moral path, today we'll be looking at the story of the inseparable Capua siblings. There was a time when the Capuas lived a life of luxury upon their ancestral lands, a simple life where all their troubles were taken care of. No stresses, parties, and able to pursue recreational hobbies, the life that the siblings had was one that many others would never even get a taste of. However, the nobility are always known for wanting more, and for the eldest, Don Capua, this was no exception. In a brash moment, the head of the family signed all ownership of the Capua's land to a businessman who promised riches beyond their wildest imagination. Of course, as is so often the case, a prospect like this was too good to be true, and instead of solidifying their wealth, the Capuas lost everything and traded their comfortable lives for a mountain of debt. Left with nothing but their airship, the Bobcat, the siblings were forced to leave their ancestral home and pursue a new life. But what could a family who has known nothing but comfort possibly do to stay afloat? With their only asset in tow, the Capuas knew that their only hope to make a living lied in the skies. Gripped by desperation, the family turned to small robberies, thus becoming an infamous sky bandit trio. Eventually, fate would take a turn as the youngest of the siblings, Josette, disguises herself as a Genis Royal Academy student, able to pull off the facade with ease due to her noble background. Though she expressed a feigned interest in the town of Roland, her true goal was a prized septium gem brought back by a pair of young bracers and put into a safe for security. At least, this is what the mayor believed. With the area scouted, the group wasted no time in breaking into Mayor Klaus's residence, stealing the septium for their own. Taking the prize to a nearby wood, Josette meets up with some of the other involved bandits, bragging about her success. However, her joy is short-lived as they're quickly discovered by the same bracers that Josette believed she had outsmarted. After a brief struggle, she's defeated, relinquishing the septium back to the bracers. But before matters can escalate, the middle sibling of the trio, Kyle, rescues his younger sister with the aid of the Bobcat. Exclaiming that their new target is now Bose, the duo disappear into the sky. Arriving in Bose, Don Capua decides to try a more daring operation, intercepting and taking control of an inbound airship. With the vessel off radar, so to speak, it's taken to the abandoned Ravenu village mine, and Kyle, along with his team, waste no time in moving cargo from the airship to their own Bobcat. As the bracers observe, it becomes clear that the Capuas wish to use this incident as a means to acquire a large ransom from the Queen of Liberl herself, something that really is quite an undertaking for a group of small-time bandits. Hearing enough, the bracers once again engage, but are outsmarted and left in a blanket of smoke as the bandits once again escape. Sometime later, thinking that they're finally in the clear, Kyle and Josette arrive at Valeria Shore to meet up with their partners in crime. As they wait on the pier seemingly alone, they confide in each other that their eldest brother, Don, seems far more reckless than usual. How could such a dozy brother suddenly become so ruthless? With their minds awash with questions, they finally make their way to the hideout as they edge ever closer to the ransom money. Meeting with Don once again at the hideout, they feel a certain ease wash over them as they realise the whole event is about to pass them by. However, to their horror, their brother has another idea in mind. Feeling that the passengers aboard the airship would act as credible witnesses, Don decides to dispose of the problem in his own direct manner. It becomes clear to Josette and Kyle that this man is not their brother, and despite voicing their concern, they eventually feel themselves giving in to his wish, until a group of bracers, the same ones from before, find them and engage. Though the plan has most definitely failed, there is a silver lining to this incident as Don appears to come to his senses, free of the aggressiveness that had frightened his siblings for a period of time. Attempting to flee the scene, they're eventually intercepted by the army and taken under duress to Leiston Fortress. After a period of time in prison and a chance of redemption in the Grand Sale martial arts tournament, the Capuas are finally able to escape after Alan Richards' coup d'etat fails. However, without their beloved Bobcat still stuck in their old hideout, they had no way of pushing forward. Eventually, they happen upon a familiar looking boy, only he wasn't the boy that they remembered. The kind and charitable man they had met at the tournament was now distant and cold, as if something had switched within his mind. Despite this, he says he will assist them in retrieving the Bobcat, and with that promise, the Capuas and the Black Fang begin a mutually beneficial partnership as they stand in a village forgotten to the world. With the help of Joshua, the siblings arrive once again at their old hideout in Liberl Valley, skillfully making their way to the area where the Bobcat lies. Eventually escaping with merely a photo to their name, they take to the skies to decide their next point of action. With the Bobcat now in Capua hands once again, the group look for any sign of Ouroboros. As they roam the night skies, Josette finds herself becoming more drawn to Joshua, a spark she had felt since the martial arts tournament. After eventually finding a potential lead to the society, Joshua resolves to leave the Sky Bandits behind in order to pursue them covertly, at which point Josette makes him promise that he will assure his own safety. But of course, the safety of a former enforcer is never assured. The decision is made and the Capuas leave Joshua to his mission. Dwarfed by the Glorious, Joshua and Estelle escape aboard a society craft but are chased relentlessly by Jaegers. However, with hope looking bleak, the Bobcat comes to the rescue, escorting them to a nearby coastline where Joshua and Estelle can finally reunite. Until Josette crashes the party. Despite showing some disappointment that Joshua has chosen to work with Estelle once again, she keeps the door open for the man to come back to the bandit should he choose. With the contract now fulfilled between the two, the Capuas leave the shore and disappear into the sky. With the Capua family finally roaming the skies somewhat freely again, their attention is drawn to a floating city above the clouds. Drawing down the periscope, the Bobcat comes nearer to the city to get a more detailed look before succumbing to an unknown force, causing all orbal energy to dissipate. With power now waning, the Bobcat descends to the Liberl and crashes within the walls. Up against not only the society but their archaisms as well, Don and Kyle are taken as prisoners aboard the Glorious while Josette manages to escape. However, one could argue that her fate is seemingly worse as she fights alone to defend the ship from the mechanical monstrosities. Just as all hope seems lost, however, a triumphant voice echoes from a distance as Joshua and Estelle come to her rescue. Realising the pinch that she's in, Josette confides in Joshua the situation, much to the annoyance of some present. The issue is clear. Kyle and Don are captured, and thus the goal for now is to get them back. After fighting through the Ark and eventually finding the Glorious, the group manage to find the Sky Bandits, including Don and Kyle, and free them. The Bracers disclose the phenomenon that sunk the Bobcat, the orbal shutdown phenomenon, something that causes all orbal energy to fail within a radius around the Ark. Without a zero field generator, escaping is out of the question. So, the best course of action is reached. Josette will stay with the main group of Bracers to assist in finding the Oriole, while Don and Kyle along with the Sky Bandits will look to repair the Bobcat. Sure enough, as the events unfold, the Oriole is eventually taken from the Ark, and the colossal city, no longer having an energy supply, crashes into the lake below, with Joshua and Estelle unable to escape. Despite the pleas of Josette, the Bobcat maintains course, seemingly leaving the two to their fates. So, it's only fitting that a creature of divine strength is the only thing that can save them, much to their surprise and delight. With the situation quelled, the Capuas are invited to a night of festivities at Grand Sale Castle for their role in assisting in the incident, along with an official pardon from Queen Alicia von Auslis. With their debts and troubles cleared, the Capuas now have a new goal, to pay back the everlasting kindness that the Queen showed to them. With their days of piracy behind them, the Capuas are now a budding courier service, offering an unparalleled level of speed and quality to the Zemurian continent thanks to their beloved bobcat. They work tirelessly to repay the kindness afforded to them by Queen Alicia, but realise no amount of work will ever truly pay her back, something that they are indeed aware of but still eternally grateful for. Despite their busy schedules, however, they still make time to come back to their old lands to visit the residents who once served under them. Now home to a branch of the prestigious Force Military Academy and housing a national hero, it can be safe to say that the lands have changed since the Capua's days in nobility. Though, this isn't too bad an outcome. With the Bobcat by their side, they still involve themselves with the happenings around the continent, looking to steer Zemuria toward a brighter future in their own unique way.